The Zarathi called him Subject 23A. To them, Captain James Mitchell was just another specimen in their vast collection, a representative sample of humanity acquired during a routine harvest of a human frontier outpost. They'd taken 15 colonists that day, sorted by age and profession. James was filed under Military Asset Mid-Range. He wasn't special. That was the point. High researcher Veltheri reviewed the containment logs with satisfaction. Subject shows typical human resilience. 40% above baseline for known sapients. Acceptable aggression levels when threatened. Standard pack bonding behaviors. No anomalies. The neutralization protocols are holding? Assistant Cree asked, hovering near the observation panel. Perfectly. Neural dampeners prevent coordination. Isolation chambers inhibit social bonding. Nutritional regulation keeps them docile. Veltheri's tentacles undulated with pride. 20 years of perfecting these protocols. Every species breaks eventually. What the Zarathi didn't understand, what their vast intelligence network had somehow missed, was that James Mitchell had a daughter. Rachel Mitchell received the news of her father's disappearance the same way she'd received news of her mother's death, with silence that scared everyone around her. She was 23, fresh out of the academy, top of her class in xenopsychology and tactical operations. The combination should have worried someone. "We've exhausted diplomatic channels," Admiral Peterson told her 6 months later. The Zarathi claim no knowledge of the missing colonists. "Without proof." "I'll get proof," Rachel said. What followed was 18 months of methodical preparation. Rachel didn't rage. She didn't make grand speeches about vengeance. She studied. Every Zarathi transmission, every diplomatic report, every scrap of intelligence from traders who dealt with them. She learned their language. Not just the words, but the philosophy behind them. The Zarathi prized knowledge above all else. They were collectors, catalogers, observers who believed understanding something meant controlling it. She volunteered for a cultural exchange program. The Zarathi, always eager for new data, accepted. "Fascinating," Veltheri said when they first met. "You show unusual calmness for your species. Most humans exhibit heightened stress responses in our presence." "I'm here to learn," Rachel replied in perfect Zarathi. Her pronunciation so precise it made Kree's sensory fronds twitch. For 3 months she was the perfect guest. Curious but respectful. Eager to understand their research methods. So helpful that they began including her in discussions, even showing her parts of their vast specimen archives. Building trust. Mapping security. Waiting. When she found her father, he was in stasis pod 23A7, sublevel 12. Alive but diminished, 18 months of study had left him 20 pounds lighter, his eyes vacant from neural dampening. Around him, hundreds of other specimens from dozens of species floated in similar pods. Rachel stood there for exactly 4 seconds. Then she went back to work. The Zarathi virus she created was a masterpiece of xenopsychological warfare. It didn't attack their systems or their bodies. It attacked their certainty. Every piece of data in their vast archives became uncertain. Measurements shifted by fractions. Observations contradicted each other. Cross-references led to loops. The virus learned, adapted, evolved just like humans did. But the truly brilliant part was how it spread. Through doubt. The more the Zarathi tried to verify their data, the more inconsistencies they found. The more they questioned, the deeper the corruption spread. For a species that worshipped knowledge, uncertainty was agony. "What did you do?" Veltheri demanded, finding Rachel in the archives as alarms screamed through the facility. "I learned from you," Rachel said, uploading the final sequence. "You taught me that understanding means control. So I made sure you'll never understand anything again." The liberation was almost anticlimactic. Security systems confused by corrupted data. Guards paralyzed by conflicting protocols. Rachel walked out with her father and every other specimen who could move. The Zarathi, trapped in spirals of verification and re-verification, could only watch. But she wasn't done. The virus spread to every Zarathi installation, carried by their own obsessive need to share and verify data. Within months, their entire civilization ground to a halt, trapped in endless loops of uncertainty. The greatest collectors of knowledge in the galaxy, reduced to doubting their own existence. "You were an experiment in human limits," Rachel transmitted to them from the escaping ship. "Turns out our limit is pretty simple. Don't take our families." Years later, xenologists would study the fall of the Zarathi Empire. How the most advanced civilization in the sector was brought down not by fleets or weapons, but by one human who understood them better than they understood themselves. They'd wanted to catalog human responses. They got one. Her name was Rachel Mitchell, and she was not filed under acceptable.